Is there anything that, especially with the reaction that you've seen in the last few days over the weekend, what's felt so different about it this time around?
Well, the thing is, I would just say so many people are just tired because this is something that continues to happen. And, a lot of people are challenging their peers, which I think is great. No matter what race you are, we are holding everyone accountable for the society that we want to live in. And I guess the reason why a lot of people are being challenged, why athletes, as it pertains to, I guess, more specifically my friends in the NBA, the WNBA, or NFL, why athletes, you don't really have to challenge them. There's so many different things that I've seen, Jaylen Brown, even Karl-Anthony Towns. The reason why you see athletes, I think, not having to be challenged, athletes leading the charge when it comes to social change, I think it's at the root of it all, it's in our DNA. We're team players. We're wired to care for the last player on the bench as much as we care about ourselves. You guys know that. We've been athletes almost our entire lives. This is why you see over the weekend Jaylen Brown, I think, driving 15 hours to lead a peaceful protest in his hometown. This is why a lot of people forget Maya Moore has chosen to forego WNBA seasons in her prime in order to fight for the wrongfully convicted. This is why you see, Karl-Anthony Towns, the star of the Timberwolves, Minnesota, Minneapolis, the city that is at the heart of the struggle. He's still showing strength after he lost his mom due to the pandemic. These athletes have so inspired, I think, not just, us, but the entire world, because I think, the more I think about this and the more I'm proud to be a part of this sports community, we operate in a merit-based world, right? Like when we play, we're judged by our performance, right? Not what we look like, not our pigmentation. So I guess when we leave the arena, these things are not always the same, but we still are wired to care about everyone. That's just what we do when we go to the gym, when we're trying to, play and win and fight for a championship. You can't turn that on or off. So I think it's been really inspiring to see all these athletes be at the forefront without being challenged. Just, as we always say, we are always in the position of wanting to take one for the team. And I think there have been so many people, on one hand, we put athletes on a pedestal, but at the same time, the last few months, we've been able to see who the real heroes are, like the essential workers, and then also the people that are really trying to lend a voice and let people understand and educate why we still struggle in society. And it's not only educating, like letting it resonate. People, but this is why I love you guys, because all we ask is for an ear, for people to listen, to sort of step into someone else's shoes. So like the events of the last week have been extremely disheartening. I have had so much trouble sleeping and just trying to understand why this is going on and why it's still going on. But at the same time, I'm proud of my friends like you guys. I'm proud of my peers, my athlete friends, for doing what they've always done and lending their voice to something that really matters. I guess that's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's time for this talk with Chiney, a straight talk in every way, shape, and form, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. And look, we are happy to listen, but the question then becomes: is what do we do going forward? How do we find a way to turn such a horrible thing into something that can be a positive outcome in the future?
Honestly, we don't have the answer. We really don't have the answer. I think the hardest part about it all is you see a community struggling. You see a community bearing the responsibility. Is it our job to bear the responsibility? No. So there's no true answer. I think it's, everything comes back to like sports to me, just because that's what I know. You go out there, you play, you may fail, but you learn from that failure. So I would just say no one should be in a position of judging someone else. If you are, then you are part of the problem. And I think it's just recognizing what our own implicit biases are and choosing not to do that again. And a lot of people think, well, what can I do? And the littlest you can do is just shifting your mindset. Because I think people think, oh, is it money? Do I have to go? Do I have to move? It's evaluating your heart. Because once you do that, things hit you different. And you won't be making the same choices. You'll be more aware. and that's more beneficial for us in the long term. So there's no real answer besides having compassion for the next man or woman next to you. No, I don't have the answers. It just is fail again, fail better. That's, I think, the cycle that we're in right now. And that's the cycle we've been in as athletes when we play and compete. That's just where we're at.
And we all say, it needs to change today, but we're not, it's not that one thing that's going to change that all of a sudden is going to make it everything better. And unfortunately for the minority community, this isn't the first, you hope it's the last, but probably not the last situation where you get a reaction like this. So I guess I would ask, because you've heard a lot of this before, is there something you heard over these last few days in any of these protests by action or by somebody saying something that struck you a little different this time, that you really said, wow, okay, that was important to hear or see?
I don't think it was anything that I heard. I think everyone that has chosen to speak speak positively, has been a positive contributor to changing the dialogue. We are in unprecedented times. A lot of things don't make sense, whether it is a global pandemic or the continual persecution of people of color. Those things don't make sense. Those things are near impossible if you are a human being to wrap your head around. So I would just say that when you're trying to, I guess the most impactful thing I've realized is when it came to global pandemic, we had the necessary measures to protect each other. The persecution of people of color is probably history's maybe one of the longest pandemics. And we need protective measures for that problem as well.